what you need. For publication? I don't know. Because, for example, we have this child indicator research. And, yes, and it's run by the people. They also publish who also work on this survey. So usually
distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, welcome to the second day of the 24th National Conference on Educational Science. It is an honor to be here with all of you once again as we continue to explore the critical themes that define our work in education, primarily in the ever-evolving context of well-being and crisis. Yesterday, we had the privilege to discuss crisis in education and reflecting on the profound ways in which our educational systems are being tested by the challenges of our time. The insights inspired us to think critically about the adaptations we must make to investigate these uncertain landscapes. Today, we shift our focus from the broader theme of crisis to one that is no less urgent or important, the well-being of children in school context. As educators, researchers, and practitioners, we understand that child well-being is at the heart of effective learning and development. The pressure faced by children today, whether social, emotional, or academic, require our immediate attention. And today we are fortunate to have with a distinguished expert to guide us in this discussion. It is my great pleasure to introduce our plenary speaker, Professor Dr. Sergiu Bălțătescu from the University of Oradea, Romania. He is a professor and doctoral supervisor in the field of sociology at the University of Oradea, where he teaches courses such as quality of life, social indicators, and sociology of culture, among others. He has coordinated many nationally and internationally funded research projects in the fields of quality of life and well-being, including Romania's participation in Children's Words, the first international survey on children's well-being, and Children's Understanding of Well-being, Global and Local Contexts, a multinational qualitative study. His primary research focus is on the subjective well-being of children, adolescents, and youth in relation to various focus, including school experiences. He has authored numerous studies on this subject. He is a board member of several leading journals in his field, such as Social Indicators Research, International Journals of Happiness and Development, Journal of Happiness and Well-being, and Health Psychology Report. Additionally, he serves as the president of the Balkan Sociological Forum and vice president of the Romanian Sociological Association. His presentation today, titled Child's Well-being in the School Context, Issues and Challenges, will address the key factors that influence child well-being in schools, the challenges we face in safeguarding this well-being, and the strategies that can help us create environments where children can thrive both academically and emotionally. Please join me in welcoming Sergiu Bălțătescu to the stage.
Thank you very much for the very nice words and for the invitation. I'm really proud and humbled by this aula, and also by being invited to deliver a keynote to such an important conference, the National Educational Conference here in Debrecen. As you already heard, I'm a sociologist, I'm not an educationist. So probably I'm a sort of alien bird for some of you. But somehow our goals are colliding, and we deal with children. We deal with children, and I will present, I will explain a little bit the title, yes. Child well-being in the school context. So how to define the well-being in the school context? Well, probably this works. A comprehensive understanding of children's physical, emotional, social, and psychological well-being as it relates to their experience and development within educational settings. So we acknowledge that well-being is an output of educational process, and for those who are not very used with the field, there is a very strong similarity between the concept of quality of life and the concept of well-being. Actually, I was an editor of the Encyclopedia of Quality of Life, coordinated by Alex Mikalos about 10 years ago, or even 15 years ago. And the change was such that initially the encyclopedia should have been named the International Encyclopedia of Quality of Life, but they added also well-being. It's a little bit pleonastically, but still. So, for those who are not familiarized with quality of life research, one of the main divide is between objective indicators and subjective indicators. And in the context of school, the objective measures are these observable and verifiable aspects of a student life that reflect their overall well-being. And there you can find some ideas of what objective, and you know very well what objective measures are for example, academic achievement and attendance rates and quality of physical environment. Speaking of this, also beautiful weather outside. Probably some of the people here at the conference are enjoying the weather. I wouldn't condemn them. And the subjective measures are the measures of the experience of children in the educational context. So the students' perceptions, feelings, and attitudes, such as self-perception of academic success, perceived social support, school satisfaction, things like that. So as a matter of testing things to play a little bit, I like to play with data and so on, I entered the schedule of the conference, and in a work cloud machine, and it came with this: the objective condition in school. The bigger are the words, the more often are in the program, in the titles of the presentation. So things like evaluation, skill, results, performance, grades. For the objective condition and for the subjective condition, satisfaction, well-being, aspiration, motivation, identity, attachment, things like that. Probably is not a comprehensive research on that, but still is interesting to see that if you analyze the schedule of and the program of the conference, you'll find this divide between objective measurement educationist and subjective measurement educationist. Okay. Now, also the subjective well-being, it changed a lot since I started about, 25 years ago to research this topic. And at that time, most of the research was focused on hedonic well-being. I mean, in the concept was subjective well-being, which is an evaluation of the that individual make himself or herself of his or her life as a whole. So this evaluation can be done by cognitive means, and we have life satisfaction. How satisfied are you with your life as a whole? Or in academic settings, how satisfied are you with your school experience? We will see some data based on that. And affective means. And affective means, the psychologists know very well the positive and negative affect. There's another divide. These are some orthogonal factors. These are not 100% correlated. You can have negative effect and still have positive, high level of positive effect. But after the apparition of the positive psychology, there is an ongoing movement towards the idea of eudaimonic well-being that means meaningful engagement in life, personal growth, pursuit of self-realization. So we have measures like self-acceptance, personal growth, purpose in life, positive relationship, authenticity in the field. Now, subjective well-being was first, and in adults became very well researched in the 80s. However, for children and adolescents, the research is rather recent. So we have some important development. For example, the United Nations Convention on the Right of the Children, with some principles that go beyond the simple survival. So it's there the need to, for example, development and a focus on more positive aspect of life of children. It's not enough that children don't starve. Yes, and it's still a big problem in third world countries, of course. Starvation, poverty is still a problem here in Eastern Europe, children poverty. But apart from that, in a more developed country, there is a need towards the bright side of children's life, towards their development, towards their improvement, towards their performance. So this is also recognized in this normative framework. And also, it's coming more and more often in the public speaking and in the educationist and also policymaker vocabulary. It's this focus on respecting the view of the child, because traditionally the research was conceived by adults and interpreted by adults. Now, in the Children's World Survey, you will find, and I will talk a little bit about this, and I will show some data. We have this idea that the questionnaire should be developed in collaboration with children, and also the results should be, of course, children are asked about their well-being, but also the results are interpreted in a panel with children to see what we are missing, to see their point of view. And apart from that, Yes. Apart from that, this is the impulsive of the new sociology of childhood. From well-becoming, the idea that children are adults in development. So children have to, you know the view. Children have to suffer, to develop, to keep quiet and learn, because they have to finish the school and get good grades and have a good job in adulthood. We often tell that to our children. Yes, keep quiet, suffer a little bit, yes, to be well in the adulthood. But the new sociology of childhood focuses more and more on childhood as a stage in itself. The child is not an adult in miniature. It's totally different, almost totally different from an adult. So the sociological characteristics are really, really different. So I took that from one of the major people from the field, Ferran Casas, from Girona, who said that the same questions about the methodology of children research that are posing now were issued about 30 or 40 years ago when we first start to ask adults about their well-being. For example, can subjective information from children and adolescents be relevant at the macro-social level? Is the data valid and reliable? Should subjective indicators go beyond the measurement to assess societal values, progress, and evaluate programs? Should we collect self-reported data to understand social dynamics and change? Can this data inform political decision making? These are strong questions. And we have this tradition of the Children's World Survey, with surveys on all continents, on representative sample, starting from age 8 years old. So we do the survey on 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. And I can tell you about my conclusion. Children are smarter than we think. Much smarter than we think. So I think we can rely on children. Of course, there are a lot of methodological challenges. For example, for 8 years old, we use FACES scale to be easier for them to respond. Of course, in countries with a strong rural-urban divide, for example, Romania, but also Poland, probably also in Hungary, I'm not sure, there will be some problem with children from very remote rural areas that don't understand well the questions and so on. But apart from that, children are smart, and children want to express their feelings about the educational settings. Of course, it is our duty in the education field to make a context in which they can easily express their views, their opinion, their feelings. But that puts a lot of challenges. And there is nothing new here. You heard about all of these, but let's start and discuss a little bit. Cooperation versus competition. Control versus freedom, achievement versus well-being. So, competition was positively related to academic achievement. So if you want, for example, in a class to increase the level of learning, put children in competition, and you will find really bright children. You will give them occasion to affirm themselves, to be the first, and so on. But what happens, and also it lowers the education costs. And you know, people with money in education, they just think, oh, that's a good thing. Let's do strong competition. But the research shows that the competition is negatively related with children's well-being. So negatively related with mental health. And I will discuss a little bit about the results in Korea. That is an example of how not to do education rather than to do education. Although we all have their phones, almost all. Some of us have Chinese phones, but never mind, or American phones. On the contrary, and I think it's nothing new here, we all know that quality of social connection and cooperative relationship in school contributes to overall well-being. So if a teacher stimulates the connection between children, the average level of well-being in a class will rise. And it's not only don't understand it like that. It's not only the teacher who have to do that. We need educational policies for cooperation, for increased cooperation. Control versus freedom. Yes. Parental control impacts mental health, and I wouldn't teach you that because in the educational science there's a lot of research on that. You know that high control, authoritarian parenting, low norms can conduce to anxiety, depression, and all kinds of problems, including low self-esteem. And there is a whole line of research in qualitative sociology that deals with and goes deep inside the children's mind, revealing their feelings of lack of autonomy, and starting with this lack of autonomy in school, but also in family life, we start to understand some behaviors of children. I mean, for a lot of children, they live in a sort of prison. For example, they go to the school and there is a prison, and they go to after classes, and again they have to stay there and come back to family, and are not allowed to go out because they have to do their homeworks, and for poorer children they have to do their household chores, their household work, and so on. So the sad fact is current educational structures often restrict free play and decision making, and of course this impacts the interdependence of children, and the educational pressure is converted into a high stress. And I also published recently in the Hungarian Educational Journal on burnout of children. It is not a very often studied topic, but school children are also in burnout as we adults are often, and educationists of course, are often in burnout. But we don't know that and we don't recognize them. And we say to them, oh, you're young, you will get over it. But no, this impacts their adult development, and this impacts their happiness and their well-being now. Because it doesn't matter only what they will do in their adulthood. It really matters what they are doing now. The South Korean education system is or exam-oriented approach, heavy helicopter parenting, intense internal competition. So South Korean, the PISA studies, also the PISA studies also measure subjective well-being. They rank among the unhappiest in the OECD countries. And there's another topic on academic pressure and adolescent identity, that excessive focus on academics affect their self-identity development, and we do them a lot of bad things by not allowing them to find by themselves their identities. The level of academic overload in some countries is such that even OECD, with all these accent on measuring success and achievement, recognize that the overemphasis on academic compromises student well-being and social interaction, and they explicitly talk about the need for balanced time for socialization that can increase their life. Now, some of the things that I will present now, some of the results, are from PISA studies. But others are from the Children's World Project that was started in 2009 by a group of researchers. We were at the University of Oradea among the first. We participated in the first wave in 2011. And all the data sets are publicly available. So just write EC Web, and you will find data to analyze freely. And all the data here, including the fourth wave that took place in the pandemic, is available and waiting for fresh new people to use. And we start soon, and I was very happy to learn that University of Debrecen is my dear colleagues from the University of Debrecen will be involved in the survey, or doing the survey for Hungary. Now, what we know from subjective well-being in adults. Such a nice line. When I see this scatter plot, don't you think? Such a nice big correlation between GDP per capita and life satisfaction in adults. Okay. Yes, we somehow expected that a positive economic development in a country not only influence the personal and the family income, but also influence the health services, the infrastructure, the educational services, and everything here. So there's not only the direct effect, but also a lot of indirect effect through a lot of condition. Okay, so let's see what happened. And believe me, I was there when we met to research to to see the results, comparative research. When we try to do the same for children. Now, what do you think about that? So, you can see Albania this is a scale of subjective well-being with 5 items. This is Albania, and this is Taiwan. Oh my God, I went to Taiwan. They're so developed. South Korea. Yes, so Germany, Belgium. And you can see here, I don't know where Romania should be somewhere here. And at the first time, they did not believe me. They said something like, you did something wrong with the data. Yes, you did something wrong with the data. Why Romania? We know Romania with a lot of poverty for children. How can Romania be among the happiest? Why? Why? And I was also called by a journal in Germany and asked why Romanian children are so satisfied with their lives and why they are so satisfied with their schools. And I asked them, don't ask that. Ask why German children are not so satisfied with the school. And they in UK, because UK was very low, Wales was in the middle. I don't know, UK should be somewhere here. And UK, they brought this to the uppermost decisional level and have conferences with Prime Minister on why this educational failure. Because most of children in UK are unsatisfied with their schools and with their lives. Now, let's go further. This is a paper by Ferran Casas, worked on the same data, and you can see the relationship for 10 years old with positive effect. I mean, feeling of being proud, feeling well, of feeling positive is negative. So you can find here, for example, Romania, Croatia, Hungary, yes, and Hong Kong. Hong Kong, which you can see the GDP compare with Hong Kong with Romania and Hungary, but still we are doing much better than on positive effect. I mean, our children are doing that. South Korea again, Taiwan again. So the East Asia, the Asian tigers, as we know them, are doing very, very bad in schools. So there is a positive correlation, but with negative effect. The feelings of boredom, unhappiness, feeling sad. These are positively related with the GDP. What we are doing here, and of course, student experience, student satisfaction with life as a student. So it's for 12 years old. 35 countries, wave 3 before the pandemic, somewhere in 2019, 2020. And you can see again here, Romania. Romania is in the middle, it's okay. But, and Hungary is somewhere. Hungary is, you know how to interpret that. What is below the line is, it's much lower student satisfaction than we would expect based on the money that enters in the country. Of course, the money that enters in the country does not necessarily go to the educational system, and there is an ongoing discussion about how much we invest in the educational system. But so you can see here it's pretty puzzling. It's pretty puzzling. Okay, so there is a mismatch between objective and subjective indicator of well-being, but you will see in the end. I don't know how much time I have. I have enough. Okay, go. Oh, I like this. You will see in the end that there is another puzzle. If you do the correlation individually, or the regression individually in one country, you will find a correlation between wealth of children and their happiness. But if you do at the national level averages, you will find a negative correlation between the wealth of the nation and the happiness of these children. So, if you don't do international comparison, you will not even see what is happened. That there is a problem, because you'll see that also achievement in school correlate with at the individual level, correlate with subjective well-being of children. So you can see happy children and achievers. These are the correlation. But when you change the point of view and you go with the bird's eye point of view, you see that the countries in which are the highest achievers are the countries with the lowest happiness in children. Why is that? How can we conceptualize that? Of course, there are some problems with culture, also in adults. For example, if you went to Latin America and, for example, go to churches there, you can see there is a whole joy of Catholicism, whole joy, a lot of colors, singing, and so on. So that's why also the adults in World Happiness Report, several Latin American nations rank higher in happiness, although they are not really rich. Costa Rica has higher adult happiness than United States. So there are a lot of explanation proposed by sociologists, such as strong social capital, social relationship, family ties, friendship, community support. And the East Asians are on the opposite side. Despite high income levels, many score relatively low on happiness survey. So there is called East Asian Happiness Gap. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the author in G. Maybe someone can tell me. So possible cases would be environmental disruption, excessive competitiveness, repressive education system, excessive conformity. Something is not really good for happiness there. But in case of children, this is even worse. Yes. So some of the explanation proposed, specialist biases. For example, there is a department of sociology in Bath that that studies the different concepts of well-being in other countries, in developing countries, for example, in Africa and so on. And so we are Western-centric because, you know, social science started in West. I mean, modern social science started in West, and we are Western-centric, and we are also adult-centric. I mean, we think that what makes us happy will make our children happy, but it's not that, because they have different values and aspirations, they have different constraints, they have different conditions, environmental condition. But what I try to work on in some of my papers, and I worked also with Ruth Feinovan, who proposed this topic. Usually we only focus on how society provides for our needs, but we don't focus on what society requests from us. And it's the case of children that we request much more than, for example, requests from adults. So here comes the concept of livability that Ruth Feinovan thinks is a better word because it refers explicitly to a characteristic of the environment and does not have the limited connotation of material conditions. So he coined this classification in life chances, what society offers us, and outer qualities or inner qualities. So life chances, I don't have so much time to explain that, but livability of the environment is at the intersection between external qualities of the environment and our life chances, what we are dealing with, what we are receiving. And let's start with offers. What society offers to the children? So I think we need to look closer on the difference between needs and wants of the children. There is in sociology of qualities of life, we think that we know what they need, but do we know what they really want? For example, we think that income or giving them goods based on our high income is the best predictor for their happiness. But it's not exactly like that. For example, in older people, you know, there is a theory on socio-emotional selectivity. Why older people are not so unhappy with the illness, loss of their spouses and so on? Why they are not so unhappy as we would expect? Because at their age and their time horizon shrinks, yes, their goals and motivation shift from long-term to short-term. But actually, if you look at the children, most of them are living in the short-term, not in the long-term. They are not, their intellect is not developed. Is developing, and the first stages they think just in short-term, and even they don't think in time, but you know all these. But the most important thing in the livability theory is that what makes life livable is not only what society offers us, but what society requests from us. Requests of the society should not be above their qualification and possibilities. So I come back with this Korean example. South Korean teenagers spend more time studying than their peers in other OECD countries, but they are the unhappiest. And a study there are a few studies made there, and this suggests that the excessive academic focus prevents them from establishing their identities. I think I talk about that. And they invented this term tiger parenting because they are Asian tigers. The countries are named that. And helicopter parenting. I mean, you know that if you're parents, that you're helicoptering around their children. And the OECD expressed their concern about the culture of overwork in education. Yes, and I don't have time again. Time constraint. You need time and to interact with your peers. Too much pressure in school might mean that students feel compelled to spend more time studying, leaving less time for non-academic activities. And this is detrimental to their quality of life. Now, I worked on, I will show you some data and leave you with more questions than before starting the discussion. For example, students who study by country and life satisfaction. Students who study 60 hours or more per week and life satisfaction in this country. So countries with larger proportion of adolescents who study more than 60 hours per week have lower life satisfaction. On the contrary, the relationship of the life satisfaction with the percent of short-time learners is positive. So it's puzzling. I mean, we as educationists want to make them to learn more, but learning more in these countries means being less happy. Now, this is a confirmation with a much larger sample by Rudolph and Bettermann, two Germans. At the individual level, I quote from there, a student can improve their subjective well-being by performing better in school than her peers. So, at the individual level, subjective well-being is correlated with the performance in school. However, at the macro level, overall academic performance and competition within school, increased learning intensity and school-related stress for each student, reducing subjective well-being for the group as a whole. And it's not only a cultural difference, but it's also a gender difference. The negative effect of GDP per capita on girls is significantly stronger than that on boys. So girls being sensitive to all three educational related factors. Okay, so that's a problem with girls. Now, the last thing I will present is my research on I had also a presentation about 2 years ago that was called also Plenary somewhere in Yashi. Longer school year doesn't make children happier, but on the contrary. So I used satisfaction with life as a student, satisfaction with life as a whole in 17 European countries, and I use this report, probably you know better than me, the Eurydice project, the organization of school time in Europe. And it's a lot of tables, like, wow, big tables on how many weeks they are learning for each country and each set levels. You know better than me all this classification. Number of days and number of weeks. And We start with, and so I correlated for the same year with the Children's World Survey data on happiness of children. So I started with happy with your life as a whole for 8 years old. And for 8 years old, how long is the school year? And for us, it's, wow, nice. No, sorry. No, not to spoil the effect. It's okay. So for 8 years old, it's better if they learn more time. They stay more in school, they're happier. Okay, let's see what it happens when they grow old. Oops. 10, please. 10 years old. And please, 12 years old. So the more they grow, the unhappier are with the length of the semesters and the school year. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, so not to be impatient, because probably I will make also people unhappy if I keep them more. So there is this mismatch between what happened in adult and what happened in children. So we need to explain the difference between wants and needs, the cultural construction of the well-being, for example, what happens with Asia, what happens in Latin America, and maybe the livability approach will illuminate us a little bit. So I tested that on PISA studies and children's worth and EuroDis. So I think the good news is that we have a lot to research on happiness of children. We know so little. And practical is to focus more on well-being, not on well-becoming, not on children as adults in development, but children as people who have to live now and be happy. And how to make duty, the school, more pleasant. Well, we lack interventions on increased happiness in schools. And instead of conclusion, more questions. Is there a trade-off between achievement and well-being? Because the results are contradictory. At national level, with the bird's eye view, there is no relationship or negative relationship between competitiveness of education system and well-being of children. But at the individual level, the achievers in a class are also the happier. Of course, we may have a spurious correlation, because probably the well-being and social capital of their families influence also their achievement and also their happiness. So there's a lot of work to do, a lot of bibliography. That's all. Thank you very much. Please.
Mulțumim frumos. Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. Now the floor is for questions. Do you have any? Yes, there is a question. Please come here, because we won't hear.
Or shout.
or shout, yeah. Yeah, come here, because without microphone nobody will hear it.
Okay. Okay. So good evening, everyone. It was very interesting, Doctor. Last time we had class, I mean, like I have my whole classmate here, so we had class, and then yeah. So you were discussing about this happiness things too in the class, and then this was also interesting. I have two questions actually, because when you do a presentation just now, I was so interested about the what we call it, the East Asian country and also the Western countries. I would like to know here about what are the characteristics that you focus on when you evaluate this happiness. Happiness, yes. Because in Southeast Asian country, maybe when you say about the tiger parenting, you slap the kid with the slipper or with the stick or whatever, we are happy with that. We don't mind. So what are the the scope that you evaluate for this happiness? Yeah. And the second question is about the special needs student. Are those special needs also included in this happiness program, happiness research? Yeah. Thank you, Doctor. Oh, okay.
Stay there. Because maybe you are unsatisfied with the response. Yes, for example, the happiness in Japan. Happiness in Japan is linearly not increasing, not decreasing since 1950s. So, although you see what happened in Japan after the Second World War and how rich they are, how good they are doing. So yes, it's a problem. It's a cultural problem. But on the other side, there are many measures that converge on happiness. So we ask children how satisfied you are with your life, and smaller children how happy are with their lives. But we also ask them, for example, positive affect, negative. If they felt, Bradburn affect balance scale, or PANAS, the positive negative affect scale. And we use all these on them, and the results are really converging. But it's true. For example, there is no correlation between, if we ask them satisfaction with life and GDP, there is no correlation. But there is a negative correlation between positive affect and GDP. So it depends also on the question. But you will find a lot of theories on individualism and collectivism, and the thing that indeed in collectivistic culture, you are happier if you fit well with the group and you're helping group and you are in harmony with the group. There's a different view, and it may be that it influences a lot. But on the other side, we know for sure the children in Japan, in Korea, they are doing a lot of extra hours, much more than in Europe. And the European children are happier than them. So I think we still need a lot of surveys and analysis on doing that. And what was the second question? The second question. Special needs. Yes, and please write me. We did. One of our PhD students worked on children with mild intellectual disabilities in special schools. And she applied the question for 8 years old to the 14 years old or 12 years old or 14 years old children from special schools. And we have the data and also published things from that. So if you want, you have my email from last time. Just write me and I will show you. We worked on that. The results are so interesting. For example, only 20% of them answer that they have disabilities. It's really strange. It's really strange. And yes, we compare with the rest of children, and they are unhappier, but not as unhappier as we would expect. For example, we worked also on Roma children. They are unhappier than Romanian and Hungarian children from Romania, but not so unhappy as we would expect. Because most probably childhood is different thing than the experience of in adults. So it may be a case study also for that. But write me and I will send you. Thank you.
Or I encourage you to continue this.
They have to go to
discussion during the coffee break and during the other breaks. So thank you very much for this presentation, and thank you for the audience to be here. Thank you.
Köszönöm szépen. Oh my God.
I want to thank you very much for your presentation.
Something sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Wow, a clock. I think is not related with the fact that I was late with that. Thank you very much. Yes. I'm staying near this church. Thank you so much. Köszönöm szépen. Thank you.